Hi, I'm Cyle from Cape Town, South Africa, and I recently graduated from the University of Cape Town with a BSc in Environmental Science. I've been surfing for about 12 years now, since I was 12 years old actually, which makes me 24 if you do the maths. And and yeah, I work at a company, an online surf forecasting company, writing articles called Wavescape, and I also work in a surf shop called Lifestyle doing surf lessons and yeah, handling media, social media. Yeah, my greatest achievement in surfing has been um, being the Western Province University champion and being invited to the Cork Bay Shootout, which is a really heavy wave in Cape Town, which only a handful of guys get invited to the competition every year. Today I'm going to introduce you to my main surfboard, the surfboard that I pretty much surf the most. It's my all-rounder and my four-board quiver. And this is my Simon Anderson. So the dimensions are 6'1" by 19.5" by 2 7/16. I don't know if anybody knows about Simon Anderson, but he was credited with designing the thruster, which is 3 fins at the back of the board. Came after the twin fin, and basically was one of the biggest revolutions in surfing after the invention of polyurethane for surfboard. This model designed by Simon Anderson is called the XFC, and it's basically standard shortboard. It's full high performance kind of board, but what I like about it is it's got a lot of width up front. So if you look over here, it's got a fair amount of width, more than most performance shortboards, which basically aids you paddling in easier. And I'm a pretty big guy and I'm pretty heavy, so I need a lot of extra width up here to paddle me in. And then if you look down here, it's got a hip in the tail, which means through the middle you've got a lot of width, but in the tail you've still got a full performance tail because it comes down to a very narrow tail at the end. So basically what you're doing is you're getting kind of the best of both worlds, an easy paddling with the width through the middle here, and then you're able to really get up and tight in the pocket when you hit the lip because of this pulled in tail. Most of Simon Anderson's board comes with basically a double concave leading into a single concave, and it has a lot of concave going out through the tail. So in bigger waves, basically you're getting a lot more control, and the concave coming out the tail is really nice for when you're barreling conditions, because it kind of forces you high up and pushes you out the barrel. Another thing I really like about the board is the rails. So I like to say it's a very Australian rail, because a lot of Australian boards come with this rail. So it's very soft at the bottom, and then it moves into like a pull down kind of pinch but half full kind of rail at the end of the day. And what this does is it gives you kind of the best of both worlds. So if you're dropping into a late barrel, the board's always got your back and the rail will always catch. But if you're doing off the lip and you kind of want to slide the tail out, then because it's got this soft entry at the bottom, it allows you to do that, and it's kind of forgiving, and it's kind of got your back at the same time. Normal fin setup that I use on my board are Scarpini 2s, which are basically the same as FCS 2s, but occasionally I mix it up, and I've got a fin here called FU, which doesn't stand for that quite, but it stands for Fins Unlimited. Put it a little bit closer. There's a fin called the Tombstone, and FU fins are made by a local guy in Cape Town called Peter van der Vliet. And I really like these fins because it's got a really large base, so it gives you a lot of drive, but then it's got minimal rake, which means that you can really do tight turns in the pocket. And for the wave that I love to surf, which is Cork Bay Reef, it's a wave that is really heavy, but it kind of like, as soon as you go into the flats, it doesn't have any power, so you kind of got to stay in the pocket. So this is kind of like the perfect fin for that. And then when the waves get a little bit bigger and I'm surfing more of like a point break open kind of wave, I use these HX3s, which is a really nice fin. It's just kind of your standard fin with a sort of a hemp bamboo kind of finish to it. And this is just a really good all-rounder, a lot of drive, a lot of rake, which means that you kind of doing really big arcs and really elongated bottom turns. what I like about this board basically is that it's one of those boards that I say like it's always got your back. It doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. It kind of like when you whatever conditions you're in, you kind of know the way it's going to respond to those conditions. But at the same time, it's a really good all-rounder from like 2 foot all the way up to kind of like 6, 7, maybe not 7, but 6 foot. You know, you can rely on the Simon Anderson XFC, and that's why it's my board.